Hi, and welcome to Heart to Heart Toastmasters. And welcome to an amazing club. I'm going to read our club mission. But before you do that, make sure that all of you are muted and only unmute when you are participating, you're being asked a question, or you are actually speaking. Thank you. Our club mission, like all Toastmasters clubs, we provide supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. But Heart to Heart is a specialty club. We are a group of entrepreneurs and others who want to make their message more heartfelt and authentic. As such, our members are allowed the option to practice a free and/or paid offer from stage in order to receive feedback. And I love what Cynthia said about this a long time ago when I first read that. Giving an offer is probably one of the most difficult things that a speaker ever has to do. So that's why our club is really special in that you get not only practice, but you get feedback on how your offer is landing. The next thing I want to do is reach out to our new members. I don't believe we have any guests today, but we have a bunch of new members, and I would like to have each of them say how they got here tonight and their name, how they got here tonight. And then you'll have a chance at the end to also talk about what you thought about the meeting. So we're going to start with Michelle. How'd you get here tonight?
I got here from Linda Patton. I basically worked with her in another group, and she told me about Toastmasters and Heart to Heart. So she had invited me to your Speechcraft event. It was a couple of weeks ago, and loved it. And I said I need help on my speaking with the various things that I do, and I joined, and I'm ready to go. So let me know when you're ready to put me out there in the fire.
Okay, well, we will. That's awesome. And then over to Martinez. Say a little bit about how you got back here after we missed you for a while.
Yeah. So I originally got here through Seema Giri, who's been amazing and has done amazing things. And I got really busy in life with school, whatnot, and then I came to the realization that my life's purpose really involves public speaking and eventually writing. And it was around that time that Cynthia Stott actually reached out to me. So it seemed like a very serendipitous event, and then the Speechcraft as well really kind of really impressed me. And that was a couple of weeks ago, and I'm really excited to get involved with that as well.
That's awesome. And any of you other Toastmasters in Heart to Heart might want to consider joining this particular Speechcraft, even though you may have already done some of the earlier ones. This is the Speechcraft on steroids. It has got some of the most amazing presenters, I mean, top leaders in Toastmasters. So you really might want to think about it. And then I want to move over to Martin. Martin, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Are you there?
Yeah. I also heard about the Speechcraft. I think that is interesting. And after that, I saw one aluminum heart that came to my garden or in the house, and I said, oh, from Heart to Heart, then I will be in that club. And I'm here.
Awesome. We're awesome. You joining us. And we are going to be doing an induction ceremony later on in which you are going to have to pledge your life, your soul, and your heart to us or something like that. Now I would like to go ahead and introduce our Toastmaster for today, which is Jean Alford. Jean, would you like to go ahead and take over the meeting for us?
I'll be happy to. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this fine Saturday afternoon. Today, we have a theme for our meeting. It's Heart Connection. Heart Connection, which makes sense for Heart to Heart. Our Heart Master is Sally Reyes, Sally, are you here?
Yes, I'm on the line.
Okay, so I'm going to turn the podium over to Sally for our Heart Master moment.
Thank you. If you will all take a deep breath, close your eyes, and take away all the tension that you came to this meeting time with. Take a deep breath, as deep as you can, and pull it way down in, and exhale very, very slowly. And go up into your head and down through your eyes, your cheeks, your lips and throat, and relax the neck, throat, shoulders, down through the arms, into the torso, and down into your hips, thighs, legs, feet, down deep into the ground from whence you came, and connect with everything around you. Take another deep breath and go down even deeper. And focus on relaxation and the love that we all hold for each other, and hold that connection in our heart. While you're relaxing, I have a poem. You have got to be carefully taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are oddly made, and people whose skin is a different shade. You've got to be carefully taught. Before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be carefully taught. Now is our challenge to reverse that thought and say, I can overcome what I have been trained since infancy. Because the world is ours at our fingertips and as deep as you can go, which can be a challenge to dig deeper and relax and deeply relax. Take that deep breath again and go deeper. The heart connection is there, and we hold each other in love and pride and support. Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Sally. That was beautiful.
Great.
Typically now I would be announcing any changes to the agenda, but since we weren't able to get into the breakout room, Michaeline, did you have changes? You're muted though. There you go.
Yes, yes. We have 2 changes. Michelle Peticolis is standing in as acting president for today. So Kimmy Avery has a family emergency and is unable to attend today. And Michelle will also be substituting, that would be on page 1. On the second page under table topics, Michelle Peticolis is also going to be substituting for Deborah Weiner as our topics master.
Thank you.
Do we have any other? I don't think we have any other agenda changes. I think that's it. Are we good, Annabelle? Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Oh, good. Yeah, we all have a pretty detailed agenda that tells us what we're doing, and I ask you to continue to follow along. Right now, I'm going to invite the general evaluator to explain the role and introduce her team. That would be Cynthia Stott.
Oh, let me unmute myself. Sorry, I'm having some internet connection, so I will stay with just my picture up. So let me pull this up. I have an amazing evaluation team. And so my role as the general evaluator is to guide the team and allow them to give their reports and also their evaluation, and then evaluate the overall meeting of today, which I'm sure is going to be absolutely amazing. So great. So one of the evaluators that we have is our grammarian and awe counter, and she's also going to introduce our word of the day, and that is Sally Reyes. Sally, would you like to explain your roles and then also give us the word of the day?
Thank you. I will be counting everyone's particularly interrupting thoughts and comms, as in oh, and, but, so, things like that will interrupt the flow of your delivery. And then our word of the day was connection, and I felt it should be heart connection, which is why I repeated it this morning, or this at our relaxation heart moment. So it's heart connection. Remember how we're connected to each other in our intention, and keep that intention in clear and uncomplicated form.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sally. So if we say connection or heart connection, they both count, is that right? As using the word of the day when we speak?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, great. So incorporate that into your table topics or your prepared speech, because that helps to give a deeper connection. I'll use mine right now. A deeper connection to the whole group. Awesome. Our next type of evaluator are timers, and Jan Robinson, unfortunately, she also had a family emergency today and is not able to be here, but Rosanna Atrea is going to explain this role and be our timer today.
Yeah, so we have different kinds of speeches today. We have regular speeches, we have table topics, and we will have evaluators, and all these have different times. And I will watch out for the time, and I will be giving you a visual indication of the time. For example, if the time is, if it's a 2 to 4 minute speech, at 2 minutes I will flash a green, at 3 minutes it will be yellow, and at 4 minutes it will be red. And you will have 30 seconds after the red to wrap up. And if you're a speaker today, please pin the video. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yes, pin the timers so that you can see them and not go over time. And then I will introduce, or the evaluators will be called to share about the speakers before the speaker speaks, and you'll get to hear from them a little bit later. So back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Cynthia. So before we jump into our exciting speeches, because I can't wait to hear them all, there's a couple of things that we've learned over time that makes the Zoom meeting run a little bit more smoothly. We're calling that Zoom etiquette. All participants should switch to the speaker view, and that's up in the right upper corner. You switch to the speaker view, and you'll be able to see who's talking only at that point. The rest, you can use the gallery view if you would like. The Zoom host, is that you, Seema? I'm supposed to ask the Zoom host to change the next speaker to spotlight video. that's one I don't understand, so I'm going to assume you do. And then speakers, as you're being introduced, please pin the timer. And again, that's, you go to the timers video, to Rosanna's video, in the upper corner, you see 3 dots. Click on that and you'll see pin video. And while you're speaking, you'll see her in the timing. So you'll be able to better follow your own timing. And so first I will invite the evaluator 1 to explain the speech and the objectives for our first speaker. And evaluator 1 is Annabelle Colstock. Annabelle?
Yes, hi. I'm going to be evaluating Michael Ann's speech, and Michael Ann is speaking from Presentation Mastery in our Pathways. She's on level 2, and she's going to be speaking on an introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. So the purpose of this project for her is to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring in her own way. And the purpose of the speech is for the member to share some aspect of a previous experience as a protege. So that is what Michael Ann will be sharing with us. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. So I would like to invite Michael Ann. Michael Ann, shadow to officer to mentor, leadership in heart to heart. Shadow to officer to mentor, leadership in heart to heart. Michael Ann Conley. You're muted, Michael Ann.
You are in the audience and you're excited to hear the speaker. He's going to read from his newest book. And he also shows a film clip that proves his point. It's fascinating. And you can't wait for more. And then something shocking happens. A heckler sitting in front of you yells out and criticizes the speaker. You don't know anything. And the speaker does something next. And it's not good. He bellows defensively. Have you read the book? The tension in the room gets hotter. Another critic joins in, and back and forth it goes for a while. And even though the speaker is right, and I'm really fascinated with the content, I realize he's turned his bully pulpit into being a bully from a pulpit. Is there anybody here who's ever admired somebody who didn't live up to your expectations? Well, I know I have. Right there, that's an example. In that moment, I realized that this speaker was demonstrating something that I call the negative role model. We've all heard about role models, right? Can I have some heads nod? We aspire to learn from their example to become more like them. A negative role model is a teacher in another way. From our experience of them, we learn, or we can learn, to become less like them. That event that I described, that happened almost 40 years ago. I was a master's degree student in clinical holistic health education. And since then, as a protege and as a mentor, I've learned that we can each be role models in some ways and negative role models in others. In my training to become a marriage and family therapist, I was supervised by 6 clinicians in the 4 years of working toward my license. And I learned from their wisdom. I also learned from their errors. And I'm sure that that's true for you as well. But today, I'm an integrative health consultant and psychotherapist, and I guide clients whose stress is harming their health and their relationships. And often, they're dealing with chronic health issues, addictions, and trauma. Pretty heavy stuff. I've also been a clinical supervisor to others who aspire to become therapists. And in some ways, I think of this job, my task is kind of like role modeling. I'm offering input and encouraging them to speak their truth. I will sometimes tell them, I'm here to sing your song. Your song is about the future life that you aspire to, and I will sing it with you until you're able to sing for yourself. Today, I hope to bring some of my experience to bear on how mentoring works in Toastmasters. Mentoring is a really big part of the Toastmasters process. And there's some traditional ways, and there's some ways that we do it here in Heart to Heart. And since we have new members coming in, I wanted to do a little bit more focus on how we do it here in Heart to Heart. But I'll first mention one of the traditional ways. A lot of clubs in Toastmasters assign a mentor to every new member in the club. So you come into the club, you get assigned to a mentor who's going to support you in your learning. In Heart to Heart, we've developed our members a little more informally. If you want or need individual support, then you would let Annabelle, who's our Vice President of Education, know. And Annabelle, if you can wave your hand so people can see you possibly, or you can wave your hand later, we'll let people find you. And that's a way that you can get some individual mentoring. But also we've created, in the district, we've created the role of VP Pathways. So everyone who comes in to Heart is going to have an opportunity to learn how to enter the Pathways process through the VP of Pathways. And that happens to be moi. So you'll be hearing from me. Second, in Toastmasters clubs, we're all encouraged to have transition plans because leadership can change in as easy a way as possible. In Heart to Heart, we're experimenting with doing this in a new way, and I'd like to share a little bit about that. And for those of you who are just coming into Heart to Heart, just think of this as something that's a possibility. No pressure, but something for you to know. And I bring this idea, I brought this to the officers group based on my experience as both a protege and a mentor, and I passed on this structure, and here's what it looks like. When you're interested in leadership in Heart to Heart, you could volunteer to become what we call a shadow officer, a protege. Then, after you've learned the role from watching and being guided by the officer in that role, you could become the officer, serve in the role. This is an official role in Toastmasters. Then last, after you've done that, you serve as a mentor to the officer. And I have done this in the education team. First, I was a protege, and Cynthia was my mentor. Then I served as an officer for 2 terms, and this year I'm a mentor to Annabelle, who is our officer. Interesting thing that I just want to let everybody know, just as a hint in case you're interested, we have 4 officer roles this year that don't yet have a shadow officer. So if you're interested, the membership team is looking for a shadow officer, the public relations team is looking for a shadow officer, the treasurer could use a shadow officer, and the secretary could use an officer. So if you're interested in that, talk to any officer about what their role is and what they do, and consider the possibility of joining us as a shadow officer, moving from protege eventually to mentor.
Thank you, Michael Ann. Very, very interesting. And I would like to ask the timer to put 1 minute on the clock for our evaluators to write their notes.
Time's up.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite Gary McKenzie to take the center stage. Gary is introducing Elizabeth Bachman, our second speaker. Gary?
Yes, thank you. Yes, today Elizabeth will be presenting a speech from the Icebreaker. It's for Dynamic Leadership Path. And the title of the speech is The Relationship Between Business and Art. So she'll be dealing with clarity of presentation and helping us get to know her a little bit better in the relationship between dynamic leadership and her path to it.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite Elizabeth Bachman up. Elizabeth Bachman, the relationship between business and art. The relationship between business and art, Elizabeth Bachman.
Have you ever heard, I'm an artist, money is beneath me? Or you ever heard somebody say, those flaky artists, why can't they be more businesslike? Or maybe you know someone who says, gee, I'd really like to stay home and paint all day, but I've got to pay the rent. So I got a job. And you know what? I'm really good at it. Does that mean I've sold out? The relationship between business and art has always been a complicated heart connection. Much has been written for artists on how to treat art as a business. But what about what business can learn from the arts? I'm about to do a podcast series that explores that relationship. I've been dedicated to the art of great communication and connection since I first walked on stage at the age of 5. And my mom said I was the best damn bunny rabbit to ever grace the stage of the Hillside School, and I was hooked. I went from acting to directing opera singers to running an opera company. And now I use my 30 years in the performing arts to inform the work I do with business leaders, helping them be better presenters. Last year, I started the podcast, Speakers Who Get Results. When I started out, I was sort of thinking, I'd like to interview some of the opera singers I know who are doing great things around branding and visibility. And yet, I knew that I had to focus on my target market, which is corporate women, and I had to really tailor it so that it would make sense for them. So I put that dream aside and focused on the topics such as Silicon Valley strategies, career, leadership, glass ceilings, things like that. When you listen to Speakers Who Get Results, you'll hear all sorts of experts, international experts about communication skills, training. You'll also hear episodes with me where I talk about how to be a great speaker, how to get booked, and many of the aspects that are needed for speaking. But all along, I kept dreaming about that relationship between business and art. And it's finally happening. This summer, I'm producing a special mini-series within Speakers Who Get Results, which is subtitled The Relationship Between Business and Art. The whole series will be broadcast over the end of August, beginning of September, so that people can binge listen over Labor Day. And also as a nod to the fall season that should be starting. Not everyone I interviewed worked out. Some of the people I approached were so focused on their own careers, they couldn't think about how what they knew about art worked with business. But I would say that I've got a group of 9 very interesting people. I'm talking to opera singers about branding, visibility, choosing your look. Also about having a work-life balance. And what do you do if your job requires that you get on an airplane and go to another city and you're leaving your kids behind? I'm talking to vocal coaches about the mechanics of producing the voice. How do you shape a phrase And how do you think about language? I've also got an art lawyer talking about negotiation, company administrators who speak to raise money to make a sale. I've even got a rock star. We're talking about pivoting. In the 1980s, she was in a Grammy-nominated band, toured the world singing her hit song. And then she went out of fashion. She had to find something else to do. And then about 7 years ago, she was asked to go on a 1980s nostalgia tour. And now she's famous again. Talk about pivoting. She's got some interesting things to say. One interesting thing for all of you, though, is the same theme came through over and over and over again. If you are talking about something that you care about, even though there are other people who are saying the same sort of thing, the key to success is to be the best you can be. It's going to be an interesting ride. I invite you to subscribe to Speakers Who Get Results. I've got almost a year's worth of podcasts up there already. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever it is that you listen to your podcasts. You can find us on YouTube under Elizabeth Bachman. You can also easily just go to my website at elizabethbachman.com/podcast. I invite you to listen now. Listen to all the great material that we have already and the amazing people that I've been interviewing. By the time you're done with it, it'll be time for the relationship between business and art.
Whoopee!
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'm going to ask the timer to put a minute on the clock for the evaluator.
And if you'd like to enter some feedback for Elizabeth, you can just put that in the chat for her privately or to everyone.
I completely rewrote it today, so please, feedback would be good.
It was beautiful.
Time's up.
Thank you. And now I'm going to invite Michelle Peticolis to come up. She's the evaluator for Lynn Fraley. Michelle?
Hi, sorry about that. I didn't realize I was also an evaluator. So Lynn, I don't know what your subject is. Do I have it here? Sorry,
The agenda.
yes, you're right. There it is. You are, relation. Oh no, that's good news. Oh, this looks very interesting. Sorry about that. Good news about breast health for women. It's presentation mastery level 3, persuasive speaking. And I'm very interested in seeing how Lynn, I will be looking at how persuasive she is, as well as the usual things of vocal variety and body language and the turn of phrase. So Lynn Fraley, good news about breast health for women, good news about breast health for women, Lynn Fraley.
Thank you so much, Michelle. The good news about breast health for women is that we can do so much better than what we're promised. I'm the author of a book called Cherish the Girls, a well-rounded approach to women's breast health, and it's going to be coming out in the fall. Now, when I say cherish the girls, a lot of women I know in their hearts, they don't really like my breasts. They're too this, they're too that. Following the theme of our meeting about being heart-centered, I want to encourage every woman who's listening and every man who's listening who can relate to women that when we hold ourselves as whole and healthy, we're in so much better position to maintain that. So what are the chances? So I also talk about I say women's breast health, and then women go, oh, it's talking about cancer, right? No, not at all. There's so many more things we can do than think about that. But the truth is we have numbers in our head. Here's one. What are the chances of getting breast cancer? Is that a good number? Did people think about that? I mean, like, watch this. If you take a look at it and you see what your real risk is. Now, for myself, I don't have it in my family. I'm not high with other risk factors. I'm postmenopausal, but my risk is 1 in 50. And that's not even taking into account other things that I do to help promote my health. So when people talk about the risks, the good news is those are numbers that are really not to be believed. There's much better ways of looking at what your true risk is. 2 other points. One is about scanning. Oh, how can we really, what's the good news about scanning and what can we let go of? And the third has to do with lifestyle. So taking a look at the risk, it's probably much, much smaller than you might have guessed. We look at scans. Now, I've timed my book to come out at Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a month that's been funded by Big Pharma and Aztec. It's kind of a project for Big Pharma around breast health. And the truth is there are so many better ways to get breast scanned. And the primary one would be thermography. Now, most women get mammograms, which can increase chances of breast disease. The compression itself can cause damage. The extent to which we get a false negative and false positive, and the true value of it is infinitesimally small. So the idea of going regularly for a scan, that's pretty much outdated. It doesn't really carry the same kind of value that people hoped it might. And in fact, when women are overdiagnosed or wrongly diagnosed, they end up having other problems, making it much worse. And in fact, the thermography not only tells you what the status of your breast is, it can predict some breast disease because it shows a change in circulation that a mammogram could never show. So the good news is that a thermography is an exam that can be done, and we're lucky. We have a woman in the area who travels around the East Bay and Bay Area and does a phenomenal scan. So she will show you on the thermography how small amounts of changes of circulation will predict a tumor that could be forming and can be reversed. So the idea is that you're going down a slippery slope is wrong. The body always wants to heal. So instead of basically falling for something that's been pretty much in the health literature has been the most important thing one can do, one can look at an option. I spoke with a woman this week and she said she had a little tumor. She wanted to do alternative. Her husband was really argumentative about it. She said, not a problem. I can do this by myself. I think our relationships come to a crossroads. And he said, no problem. I'm with you. I'm with you. She did some alternative things as 100% perfect. And she was telling me about thermography being such a great scan. And I said, I know that I'm well aware of that. I need to see where my frickin' timer is. Hold up a screen. Rosanna, hold up something so I have you in my line of sight here. On my little, what do we call them? My little thumbnails. Well, you just speak up. Say, hey, just tell me the number.
Hey, I'm here. I have the timing thing behind my head.
Yeah, well, I need to know which thumbnail I'm looking at to even guess. So sorry.
It's the one that's blue. With the blue background.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. What the really fantastic news is, if you think your chances are 1 in 10, 1 in 20, 1 in 50, 1 in 100, 1 in 3, lifestyle changes are phenomenal in terms of being able to have it. So if you say my chances are 1 in 8, what if they were 1 in 16? What if you could immediately reduce your chance by making some small modifications? Hundreds of thousands of women have been studied, and it's been shown without any doubt at all that increased levels of alcohol will increase your chances of breast cancer. 1 dose, 2 doses, 3 doses, meaning a drink. So women who have any kind of concern at all can simply take a look at some lifestyle choices that they're making that can make a dramatic difference in what they have going. Exercise, a little bit more exercise can dramatically change it. There's so many different lifestyle interventions that one can do. Vitamin D, other supplements, other food things. So if you consider the cumulative effect of any of these changes of lifestyle, it makes a profound impact on what your real chances are. So the good news is the fear that we've been cultivating over the years, which we experience right now with our own virus nonsense or condition or what have you, is they're not so unlike. And my message is to support you in moving past any kind of hesitation you may have, any kind of fear, anything that's sitting there brewing. Connect yourself to your heart and just cultivate the belief that you are healthy, you are whole, and should you be diagnosed with anything, you can still cherish the girls and you can be very proactive and keeping your body and getting it back to a healing state.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks, Michelle. You did an awesome job jumping in there, girl.
Okay. Can I get 1 minute on the clock, Rosanna?
Time's up.
Thank you. Michelle, I know you just finished doing the evaluation, but don't get too comfortable because you're up next.
Yeah, I am. Thank you. Let's
Michelle
see.
is the topics master.
Okay,
Michelle
so
Petticolis.
thank you. Thank you very much, Jean. So what I'm going to be doing is the impromptu speaker portion of our meeting, and I'm going to invite people to volunteer, and then you won't know what I'm going to ask. You're going to have to just jump in there. So first, I'm going to ask, I guess, 3 people. Who would like to volunteer to be a speaker? Can I see hands up if you want to volunteer to? Okay, Martin, great. Anybody else? You want to go number 2, right? And Kathleen. So I'm going to do you, Kathleen, first, and one more. Anybody else? Marcus, great. I got some great topics here. So we're going to start with Kathleen. And Kathleen, I'm kind of building on the idea of connection and speaking as a way to connect. So I would like you to describe your first experience of public speaking and what that was like, and how were you at connecting with your audience?
In 1 to 2 minutes, please.
In 1 to 2 minutes.
I think that my first experience in public speaking was in Toastmasters, and I was scared and frozen like many are. That was 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm pretty comfortable, at least among Toastmasters. And the reason that I am comfortable is that my audience is willing to listen to me. And I know that because I am practiced in listening, really deeply listening for the moments between the words, the message between the words. And that allows me to go deeper into what I want to say. So I get better all the time at speaking to a respectful audience. And I guess I can't wait for the disruptive audience practice that Toastmasters will throw at me.
Thank you, Kathleen, for jumping in there. And for our next speaker, we have Martin. Is that correct? Martin,
Yeah.
and what I have, my question for you is, who do you admire as a fabulous public speaker? Or is there a certain hero that you have that you would like to share with us? How you want to emulate them, for example? Take it away.
Real connections can make friends for all our life. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. I think that we must emulate or admire those that are near to us. For example, if I am with you, of course I will admire Michelle, both Michelles, Kathy, Annabelle, Rosanna, Jean, Michael, Chima, Marcus, because are near to me and I will learn a lot from them. Other people that I could learn, for example, if I say Robin Williams or many other people, but until right now, I don't have the models to learn from them. I just have some friends that are world champions, but not yet my models to follow. I'm just looking because I returned to Toastmasters in August of last year. And it's not so much time because first I was in Sonora Club, then I changed to, I was dual member in Sonora and Veracruz, so I have two clubs, and now you are going to be my club. And I think that when I will make a real connection with you, for example, you are going to be my models to follow. And as when they say, if you follow the people, for example, if you are with wolves, you know how to talk and all that. I think that improves each one. If you do your best, every time you are going to be learning and learning. But for the moment, I think that the people most important to admire is those that are around us, because it's the people who can help us. So what about if we try to learn from the people who is around us and to make real connections? Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. It was really great to connect with you.
Marcus is the next one.
Yes, I know. My brains. Martin, thank you. It was really great to connect with you, and I loved your enthusiasm. And now we're going to turn to Marcus. Yes. And the question for you is, how do you, I think you already talked about this, what is your dream public speaking ideal? Where would you like to speak, and who would you like in your audience, and what would you like to be talking about?
Thank you, Michelle. Great question. So as I had mentioned earlier, yes, public speaking is absolutely part of what I intend to do in the future. I would love, ideally, to do it on an international stage. Here in the US, but also overseas. My family is waiting for me in Singapore, and that's another place I'd like to connect and plug into with public speaking. Ideally, I want to be able to focus and help people improve their level of health and wellness, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So I'd love to be able to talk about these types of topics, and everyone is different. Everyone has a different leverage point that will create the most abundant change for that individual. So I'd like to be able to work with as many people as I can, reach out to as many people as I can, and really learn on a more intimate level how to build a heart connection with other people. And so that's my ideal stage. Really, the world is a stage. And I'm ready and willing to utilize what's out there and what's available to be able to deliver these messages of health, wellness, and healing. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. I really look forward to seeing how you develop and evolve and reach for your dream speaking opportunity. Thank you for speaking with us today and jumping into the table topics. And thank you all for all of my volunteers. I would like to turn the stage back over to our Toastmaster today, Jean Alford.
Thank you, Michelle. Next on our lovely menu called an agenda, I'm going to invite Annabelle Colstock, our VP of Education, to come to the podium to talk about roles. Annabelle?
Thank you, Jean. So the roles, you guys have all had a good, like,
Annabelle, it's hard to hear you. Can you?
Oh, is this better?
A little bit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
come closer to your computer. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
I am a VP of Education, and that means that I am going to be working with a VP Education team to put together the agenda for the next meeting. And I am encouraging you now to sign up for the roles. You were able to see what kind of roles, some of you that are new, that that you can sign up for. Like, well, of course, speakers. We need speakers and evaluators. And then the table topics master, we need somebody to be a heart master at the beginning. Sally did such a great job at the beginning of our meeting for that. And so all you need to do is write into the listserv, our member listserv. If you've got a position that you'd like to do for next time, you can always ask me if you have questions about that. And also, I wonder if I should do this here. I wanted to congratulate Linda Patton. She wasn't able to come today, but she finished level 4 of dynamic leadership. So everybody, yay,
Wow.
Linda.
Yay!
And our Summit also finished level 1 of presentation mastery. So myself and Michael Ann, who's the VP of Pathways, she'll be talking more about pathways in future meetings. But we're here to help guide you through those pathways so you can get your awards and move on in the levels in the pathways. Anything else? Was there anything else that so yeah, I think that's about it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jean.
So at this point, we are going to take a 10-minute break. I have 4:56 on my clock, so let's make it 5:05 that we come back. So 10-minute break. You can go do what you need to do, and people will still be on if we want to talk to each other in this time frame. So it's a good networking time as well. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Great. And I don't think we have any guests. We have only new members. Well, we have a guest in our division director, Carolyn. She'll be introduced a little bit later, but
Yes,
I think we can just
will. Yes, I should have introduced her at the beginning. Carolyn, that was such a mistake. I will introduce you amply when you come to do our installation.
All is well.
Thank you.
We're just thrown off because we have so many new members to greet. It's awesome.
Well, I'm also thrown off because I jumped in and took on 3 roles at once. So
Yeah, we weren't thinking about that. Because you're also managing the meeting because Linda isn't here.
Cynthia?
You're a trooper,
Kimmy.
Michelle.
Thank you.
Yes. Did someone call my name?
Cynthia? Who
Yes.
am I? Yes, this is Sally. Who am I? I'm supposed to be attached to someone who is speaking?
No.
Oh, you're not evaluating today, no? You're just taking the notes on filler words.
Oh, I got
And
all that. Sure. No, I
yeah,
thought there was something. Okay, fine. Thank you. No.
you're
problem.
not an evaluator today. Just
Okay.
the off-counter grammarian and the beautiful Heartmaster. I love it.
Did you like that?
Yes. Beautiful.
Good.
I love that song. I know every word. And so when
Me
you
too.
were
I would love
reading it,
to sing it, but it was so.
when you were reading it, I was singing it
Yeah, good.
myself. Yeah, yeah. That was a very powerful message, you know, that an example of a film that has a social justice message but isn't sold from a social justice place. So it was very
And they
sweet.
wanted to leave it, to get it out of the movie.
Yes, they
the
had to
whole
fight
movie.
to keep it in. Yep.
It was
Yes.
such a beautiful poem,
Yeah.
Sally. Really, really affecting.
What movie
Yeah.
was that?
The one where
South Pacific. The movie was South Pacific, or the play,
Yes.
stage play.
I just wanted to not mention that or the song to see if we could get it so it wasn't attached
Right.
to something and see it as a fresh space.
Right. I just happened to grow up in a family where we watched musicals and we sang all the songs, and we had old style record players with the music, and music would be on a lot. And so, you know, it was, for me, it really just brought I could hear the music, even though you weren't
Yes,
using it.
I
thought it was a
absolutely
great way to
adore
do
it.
it. Great way to do it.
Thank you. I just wanted to see it from a different angle.
You did it.
Thank you.
You succeeded.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. And I love that message now. It's so apropos that you have to be taught to hate. And if we are left to our natural devices, we love each other. We love our differences. We love our similarities. And it's so sweet to hear some young children, like this one little boy, they were having a twins day at school, and he was white and his quote twin was black, and he said, well, we have the same hair and we have the same face, and he just saw them because he was so familiar with him and so loved him, and he saw himself as a twin, and it was just
wow,
beautiful.
that was
very
great.
sweet. Very sweet. We're doing everything.
It's hard to, they've said so many wonderful things that many years ago, and we've taken it as it must be gray and it's not important anymore. And that's not true. It's fresh.
No. We're in one of the metaphors I used earlier in a group was that we're like when a married couple decides to renew their vows. And this is a time for us as a country, we're renewing our vows.
Yes.
We're renewing
I love that.
to begin to live the aspiration that was in words in 1776, but hasn't yet been lived. And it's now our time to begin to live them. It's taken a long time. It's taken way too long, unfortunately.
Way too long.
Because of Reconstruction.
Horrible things.
Yeah, horrible things. Yeah,
horrible things.
Well, there's a reason that there's an old saying, what goes around comes around, and those who don't learn from history will repeat it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I like to stick, when something keeps happening, I look up in the air and go, okay, got the lesson, did the paper, can we let it go now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I happened to watch the documentary Charlottesville last night on PBS. And, I had been reading a lot, but I actually am not much for watching TV news and watching what they put on the screen. So I saw visual images, and they actually they had videos from people who were in the crowd. So they had a lot more that wasn't even on the news. And it just made that experience so profound. And how many mistakes were made, and yet it's helped to awaken us, those of us who aren't awake, perhaps, and
sharpen our view.
Yes, absolutely.
Focus.
Yeah.
We thought it was there, but we weren't sure. Now it's focused. And our time is going to start. What was the new start?
2 more minutes.
Okay.
Rosanna, is it time now?
No, sorry about that. No, not yet.
We have 2 more minutes.
Yes.
So some folks will be back in a minute. I actually liken this time to throwing a boulder into a pond and how the water gets all, mucky. And there's a point where you need to let it settle. And when it settles, it's a new world.
Yeah. Yeah.
One can dream.
We can dream. I am dreaming.
And it will happen because you're dreaming.
Yeah. Yeah. My dream goes back to the age of 13, sitting on a sofa with my mother watching Martin Luther King and everybody else walk on the bridge in Selma.
Ah.
The
wow.
Pettus Bridge. And
Bravo.
yeah. Tears, we're both just crying. We lived in Arizona, I didn't know from busing because everybody bused.
Right. Yeah, that's getting more and more focused on those things that have happened in the past and then turning that lens.
And learning to speak up.
Yeah.
As you said in your speech about, turning the bully pulpit to being a bully from the pulpit,
Right.
we need to stop that.
We need to stop that. Yeah.
I appreciate your conversation. It boils down to I am my word.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if we do not practice our word, then our word means nothing.
It's nothing.
Our word is very powerful. So what are you saying? What are you putting out into the field such that people know this is who and what you are, what you believe in or what you stand for, and that the reliance on the integrity of your word is solid.
Amen.
Yeah, you're reminding me, Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements. The first agreement is be impeccable with the word.
I took the course.
Yeah, which means don't use words against yourself or
Yeah.
others.
Yeah.
And so those of us, I think in Toastmasters, we really model that there's so much of using our words in a way that's healing and uplifting and connecting,
Yes.
connection.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's the word
Heart
of the day.
connection.
Callie,
Heart connection.
just check me off. I just got a point.
I got it.
When I'm doing my speaking, I sort of it goes away. I forget, But I think you're right, Carolyn. It's like how we use words. So important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it looks like it's time for us to get back to going. So Jean, are you there?
I'm here. Maybe.
Okay,
Yeah,
we're missing,
there I am.
we're missing one person.
Right.
And we're right on schedule. This is awesome.
This is going very well. It's amazing.
Okay, so if everybody could mute themselves until we get towards the end, that would be great.
Welcome back. I hope you had a nice break. We had some nice conversation and discussion going on during the break. Thank you, everybody. Now it's time to find out how all the speakers did. We get to hear from the evaluators. So at this point, I am going to invite Cynthia Stott to come in, as she was the general evaluator, and she will introduce her team. Cynthia?
Awesome. Thank you, Jeannie. I have an amazing team of evaluators, and the first one to evaluate Michael and Conley's speech is Annabelle Colstock. Please welcome Annabelle.
Hi. So Michael and thank you so much for that really great speech. I'm putting myself in gallery view so I don't see myself. That was a wonderful speech. And I loved how, well, the whole purpose of the speech was so perfect for this group. But I love how at the beginning you introduced us by taking us into this experience. You were so good about the words you used, about being excited, about being in this audience and listening to this man. And then what he did when he got heckled, I loved how this turn of phrase, he turned that bully pulpit into a pulpit. I mean, he became a bully on the pulpit. So he was like the kind of role model that you don't want to mess around with, right? And then she went on to talk about how role models, they are so important. And we can have role models that are negative and role models that are positive. They all teach us in a different way. So I loved how she explained that and talked about that. And she had some beautiful phrases that I loved. Like she did say how she deals with people is that she is there to sing their song until they can sing their own song. That was a heart connection. That gives me goosebumps almost when saying it again, because that was so beautifully said. She is there to help people sing their song. I love that. And then I loved how she then transitioned into kind of what the subject was mentoring in Toastmasters, and how being a mentor is part of the process of transitioning officers. Like I'm right now, I shadowed Michael Ann for a while to see the incredible complexity and work that a VP of education has to do. And now I get to be one, but she's not letting me just hang out to dry. She's there to help me out. And it's so wonderful to have her as still being a mentor. And then I loved how she did really, I was going to say she had really good hand gestures. Mostly it was here, but you can't do much on the little screen like this. She also had good eye contact, I think. I mean, it's hard to tell who she's looking at, but it looked like her eyes were going across on the different panels of people. And also I love how she did fulfill the obligations of this speech, because she talked about being a protege and how she was a shadow officer once. And I was a shadow officer or protege. We call them shadow officers. That's another way of saying protege. And then she had a really great call to action, and every good speech has that at the end. A call to action. So please, she asked us all to think about what kind of roles we would want to be in and how we could be shadow officers. There's several officer positions that need shadow roles, and she was very good about explaining that. So Michael, and it was such a good speech. And I, as far as stretch goals, I couldn't think of many, because I also loved your conversational style of speaking, and it's very easy to listen to you. And then you brought us into the experience at the beginning of the speech, and then the call to action. So everything was very good. Maybe different gestures, I don't know. It was a great job. Thank you, Michael.
Great. Thank you, Annabelle. And now our second evaluator, which is Gary McKenzie, evaluating Elizabeth Bachman's speech. Welcome, Gary McKenzie.
Thank you. Elizabeth, really enjoyed your speech. I like the way you opened the speech. You asked not just one question, I believe you asked 3 questions, which helped draw us into your speech. And then you took us on a journey. We all love a story. We all love a journey. You took us on a journey from as a little girl when you were first on stage, through your experiences, and then ultimately your goal of the podcast, and how you had a dream. And you stated what it was, the relationship between art and business. And then you said, well, I had to put that on the back burner. Now this builds curiosity from your audience's point of view. Gee, did she just forget it, or is it going to come back? And then you built your credibility. You start talking about the various individuals that your types of podcasts you've had, which builds credibility. Says, oh, this is someone we want to listen to, which incidentally is a good format for Heart to Heart, since I'm going to call us an entrepreneurial Toastmasters group. Then you seeded the program, encouraging us to go to your program, to your podcast. And then you brought us back that opportunity again to do some interviews and include the relationship between art and business. And then you proceeded to let us know that you interviewed numerous individuals. However, you only chose the best 9. And you gave us their topics. And then you had a nice close, a call to action. You told us where we could go to listen to your podcast. You had a nice embedded command. The word now is a nice embedded command to take action now. So it's very good. My suggestions, my stretch for you, Elizabeth, is look for opportunities to include dialogue in your story. There's 3 that immediately comes to my mind. One, when you were the little girl on stage, had you said, my mother looked down at me and said, Elizabeth, you're the best bunny, in her voice. And then you look up and say, oh man, I was hooked from that moment. Brings us in, it's dialogue. Then I would encourage you to think about when you were interviewing the opera singer, look for a way to bring dialogue in to say, I was interviewing the opera singer, asking how can you participate, what message, and maybe a pause, and the opera singer says, Elizabeth, have you ever thought about the relationship between opera and branding? Brings us in, branding. And then the other one was the rock star. There again, I think it would have been great. Told about the story, and the rock star says, Elizabeth, there was an event that took place in my life that changed it, that brought me back on stage. Now you've built curiosity. You didn't tell us about the event. However, we're curious. We want to hear. So again, thank you very much. Look forward to, I am going to listen to your podcast. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Gary. Great evaluation. Terrific. Now from our final evaluator is Dr. Michelle Peticolis, and she's going to be evaluating Lynn Fraley's speech. Please welcome Dr. Michelle Peticolis.
Thank you. Hold on a second. I just want to pin Rosanna for myself so I keep track. So Lynn, an amazing speech. I personally feel like it's the best speech I've ever heard you give. I was so drawn into your speech from the very start, especially when you mentioned breasts, and you said, well, most of us think about how we don't like our breasts, that, you know, we have these attitudes about our breast. And then the next thing was that we think about cancer, which of course is not the only thing we should think about, but often that is what we think about when we hear the words breast. I loved your visual aids, your cute little cards that had the statistics, because they were simple and they were impactful. And I love the way that you tossed them over your shoulders. It's like, we don't need to listen to these silly statistics because it's much more than that. And it was surprising and thrilling to hear you talking about something different from getting a mammogram to keep track of your breasts. So this was like groundbreaking and on the edge kind of information. And you said it with such authority that I was like, yes, I love this. Let's see, what else? You had great questions throughout, which kept us constantly engaged. Let's see, what else? The story, and I forget what the story was, but there was a story in there. In fact, there may have been more than one story. What I would recommend in stretch goals is a little bit like what Gary said to Elizabeth, is to make the story come alive with your vocal variety. Give a voice to that person, and then we will remember that much better. So vocal variety, you had some vocal variety, you had great facial expressions, but you could do more body. I know it's really hard to do this in Zoom, and yet you could, even if you do that, it will be easier for us to keep track of the main points that you made throughout, is by using your body a little bit. And I love it when people actually stand up. I haven't done it myself, but I think that you could probably do that. And then the last thing is to summarize at the end what your main points are, because you had so much information. It helps us to put all those pieces together. But here's what I want to say to you, Lynn. You have such a natural style, such a calm demeanor. You could be giving this on Facebook Lives. Not everybody can do Facebook Lives, but I believe that you can do that because you have such a style, a quiet style, but very convincing. And people really need to hear this information. That is my recommendation to you. Great speech. Love the information. Keep it up.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Thank you, Michelle. All three evaluators gave a balanced and very supportive evaluation, which is what we're looking for, and also balanced with the stretch goals. Annabelle, for yours, I know you were searching for a stretch goal, and that's absolutely true with Michael Ann. She is an accomplished speaker, and so searching for that would be a little tough. What you touched upon was gestures, and I'll just give you a little stretch goal here, Michael Ann. What Annabelle could have taken that further to was saying kind of the use of stage. So when you were talking about moving from shadow officer to mentor of the officer, that's a perfect way to just shift your body. When you shift your body, or if you're standing on the stage, move to stage right, that's where the audience sees it as the left. And as Americans, we move from left to right. But just a shift, like a spinning in your seat, thinking that you've got like a spinning. So from mentor on the right, from shadow on the right, that's at the beginning, to the middle of the officer, and then to the left where you have the mentor. That would be great. Loved the balance that you gave, Gary, in the stretch goals, very specific, really great examples of bringing in the characters and the vocal variety. And then Michelle, you took all that and then you took it to the next level. You brought in her strengths again, and then you upped that for where she could take that to Facebook. That was a perfect example of a Toastmaster sandwich. Loved it. Great. And now on to my amazing evaluation team. And I just did an First of all, we're going to call forth Sally Reyes to give us our ums and our ahs and any wonderful use of the American language as a grammarian and also word of the day. Please welcome Sally. Woohoo! Sally, are you there, hon? Sally?
I'm sorry, I was off. Now I'm on.
Oh, you on mute. Okay, great.
Okay, our heart connection use was won by Cynthia, Lynn Fraley twice, Michael Ann, Annabelle. And so that was the amount of people who brought it to the attention. And Jean used one Annabelle 2 uhs, Michael Ann, perfect. Gary, 1 ah, Elizabeth, nothing. Lynn, one, I'm not sure what that meant. Okay, and Catherine, 1 ah. Martin, how to, used it twice as a filler, once as a filler. And Marcus, 1 Okay, I think that was it. I thought the quality was really beautiful. I thought that each one of them was on an extra high quality, no messing around, straight delivery, and careful and easy. It was very easily done and with so much quality and information. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Sally. Appreciate that. Full report. And then now to the timers report from Rosanna. Please welcome Rosanna.
Thank you, Cynthia. So we had two different kinds of speeches, the 5 to 7 minute speech and the icebreaker, which is 4 to 6 minutes. Michael Ann, I clocked her at 7:10 and Lynn Fraley at 6 minutes and 39 seconds. Both were well within their time limits, and Elizabeth was 5 minutes and 58 seconds, so she was fine as well. And the table topics are 1 to 2 minutes. I had Kathleen at 1 minute and 41 seconds, Martin at 2 minutes and 5 seconds, and Marcus at 1 minute and 29 seconds. So they were also within their time. For the evaluation, we have 2 to 3 minutes. I clocked Annabelle at 3 minutes and 32 seconds, so she went over by 2 seconds. And Gary was 3 minutes and 29 seconds, and Michelle was 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Rosanna, for that wonderful report. And we're running, we started 1 minute late, and we're running just 1 minute late. So we're doing really good. We're on time. Passing it back to Michelle as our acting president so we can do the officer installation and new member induction.
Okay, well, I am very excited to be introducing Carolyn Douglas. And Carolyn, I looked through my files and I do not have a bio on you, but I will tell everyone that she is the division director. So our club is one of 5 clubs that is in her division. No, one of 20 clubs, 20, more than that, who are in her division. So she's overlooking a lot of people. And I'm excited to have her doing the officers induction. Carolyn, if you can tell us anything more about your illustrious Toastmasters career, just in a short summary, I would love that, would love for you to do that.
Thank you very much. It is a wonderful experience being with you. It's not my first time being with Heart to Heart, but it's my first time being with you in this capacity. And what I love about Heart to Heart is the entrepreneur spirit and that element of teamwork that flows through the demonstrating and the putting on of the program and the helping of one another. And helping one another is very key to me, because I realized very early in my life, you can't do it all by yourself. And then God put other people here, so what are you going to do with them?
Yes.
And that's really big for an introvert. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So my Toastmasters experience started before I officially joined. And I was working for a federal agency, and it was needful for me to go out and speak in public. So they taught me to speak in public and not just in my head. But in addition to that, when it was time for me to officially join, because I wanted to do more than just have a good speech presentation, that was in 2012. It has made quite a difference in my life, and I'm so proud of it. And for those of you that are thinking about joining Toastmasters, I have gone through thousands of training on how to be a great presenter. And I have the best fun, the most memorable experiences that I can pull up on from right here in Toastmasters. Because there isn't the fear that my supervisor who's in the class with me, or the supervisor who's there is watching over. It's so easy to be who we are in Toastmasters and learn what we've come to learn. We've made a choice. And with that, I'm going to end It's About Me, because now it's really about the officers here in Heart to Heart. So Heart to Heart Toastmasters, an honored guest. It's an honor and privilege for me as the incoming division director to install the new officers of Heart to Heart Toastmasters. Before we proceed with the installation of the new officers, it's my duty to discharge the retiring officers. Outgoing officers, please change your ID to identify your current role. I'm assuming that's renaming on your Hollywood square there. Is that how?
Yes, that's the way.
So the president, the outgoing president is Kim Avery, Vice President of Education, Michael Ann Conley, Vice President of Pathway, Rosanna Atreya, Vice President of Membership, Cynthia Stott, Vice President of Public Relations, Suzanne Thibault, Secretary, Seema Giri, Treasurer Louise Green, and Sergeant at Arms Sally Reyes. With all of that reading, thank you for the work you've done this past year in those specific roles. You are now discharged from all further duties and responsibilities as officers of Heart to Heart for 2019-2020. Now, incoming officers, please identify yourselves in your ID according to your officer role. I am here to install you as officers of Heart to Heart and to prepare you for the challenges that lie ahead. The collective challenge is to make this club strong, dedicated to helping people from all walks of life to speak in an effective manner, to listen with sensitivity, and to think creatively. And I, Carolyn Douglas, will add one more, and to be innovators to the process that you even think is a stellar process. Be innovators. I will ask each officer to place your hand on your heart as a symbol of leadership as I briefly describe the challenges that you must meet and the responsibilities that you must individually as well as a team collectively feel. So Sally Reyes. As Sergeant at Arms, Sally, I need to see you.
Oh, she's on the phone.
Okay. As Sergeant at Arms, you will take the active leadership in welcoming members and guests to the club meetings. Make them feel at home and ensure they receive a favorable impression of a smooth, well-run meeting. I also find, Sally, as Sergeant at Arms, now it's important for us to do that even more since we're doing online meeting. We meet and greet everyone. We meet and greet every guest. When you do this, you meet and greet the universe that is coming to you for a purpose and for a cause. I encourage you to accept that task, to accept that role, to be the greeter for those that are sent to us. Michelle Petacoulis, as treasurer of this club, you have the primary responsibility to manage and control all funds of the club, collect the payable dues and fees, and make all payments promptly. That also means, Michelle, no shopping sprees, unless authorized. Linda Patton, I know Linda is not here. Do we have a stand-in, or should I just continue forward? I'm going to read what her role is. As the secretary of the club, Linda is the focal the central focus of all of the records. Her responsibility is to maintain a current set of records of all the meetings and activities. And I imagine you have a designated location where anyone in the club would be able to review the minutes of the meetings and so forth. Our next officer is Gary McKenzie. I see you, Gary. Thank you for being here. In order to effectively fulfill the mission of Toastmasters International, we must continuously attract new members. As the Vice President of Public Relations, you are responsible for coordinating an active public relations and publicity program. This is an amazing position. One, too, where you recognize it's not all about you. It's about all that you are able to do to incorporate the rest of us and let everybody else know we're here. And we're here for this need. So thank you for stepping up for this. Cynthia Stott, as an educational organization, our mission is to help people develop their communication skills. So as the Vice President of Membership, you're responsible for building membership and assuring a strong membership base. That means with those that are ready to join right now, and for those who say, could you drag me along a little bit? Hang out with us. Now, Michael and Conley, now that the legacy system has ended, we need to have all of our members active in Pathways. As the Vice President of Pathways, you are responsible for orienting current as well as new club members to the Pathways program. Work with the VPE, the Vice President of Education, to track members' progress. Troubleshoot the challenges that you may find. Work as a coach, guide, and encourage members to complete their first level and to train the new Vice President of Pathways for the next year. This is a prized position because you're holding in your hand, in your grasp, our future. Take care of it well. Take care of it well. Now, Annabelle Coldstock, as the Vice President of Education, you're responsible for providing and maintaining an educational program through which members develop their communication and leadership skills. As the second in command, you will also represent the president and preside over the club meetings in the president's absence. You will find, and I'm sharing this as a former president of a club, you will find that the two of you, the president and the Vice President of Education, will walk hand in hand more closely and more often than you can imagine. So I hope you're open to be in that place for that. And for Kimmy Avery, as the president, having been elected the president of Heart2Heart Club, you are its chief executive officer and are expected to preside at all club meetings and at all regular and special meetings of your executive committee. It is your challenge to see that this club enables its members to achieve their educational goals. It's also your challenge to see that your club helps the area, the division, the district, and Toastmasters International to meet all of their goals too. So all new officers, right where you are, the word says, please stand, but stand in your heart. Stand solidly in who you are right now. Stand firm. I want to see you in the square. I want to see you standing in the sturdiness of your might right now. with your hand on your heart being a symbol of the power and authority given to you by this membership of this club. Use it wisely and with restraint. You are a member of your team as well as a leader. A team is more than a collection of people. It's an emotional force rooted in the feelings, thoughts, and actions of all members with the common goal of achievement, sharing, and mutual support. Work with the team members to create a healthy, dynamic club, a club of which everyone is proud of, is proud to be in, and is proud to invite others to come and be a part of, because you know of its goodness and of its worth to all people. Will you, Sally, Michelle, Linda, Gary, Cynthia, Michael Ann, Annabelle, and Kimmy, will you accept this challenge and perform your duties to the best of your abilities?
I will.
Yeah, I will.
All right, thank you. I believe you. I honor your word. It is now my pleasure to declare these Toastmasters installed into the offices to which they have been elected. You may breathe now.
Woohoo! Congratulations!
I would also like to recognize the proteges, the shadow officers, and the mentors. Please, as I call your name, allow yourself to be attentive to what's here. Sandra Edward, Shadow Sergeant at Arms. Deborah Weiner, Shadow President. Jean Alford, Mentor for the Vice President of Public Relations. And Louise Green, Mentor for the Treasurer. Louise has been Heart2Heart's Treasurer for 5 years and is the longest standing current member in Heart2Heart. Let's give them accolades. Let's give them a round of applause. A round of applause.
Yay!
Now to all of the club members and guests that are present here, will everyone be at attention to what's coming next? The growth and development of the Toastmasters program in Heart2Heart depends largely on the actions of this entire group, not just one part of the group, not one little designated section, but it depends on the entire membership of the club, of the group. On your honor, as members of Toastmasters, do you pledge to individually and collectively stand by this club, live with it, and work with it throughout the coming year?
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
Anybody else? Come on, unmute yourself.
I do.
Or you can do a reaction with a thumbs up.
There you go.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much for receiving these vows, and thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to present to you the current executive committee for 2020 to 2021. Let's proceed.
Woo-hoo!
I turn
Thank you
the
so
meeting
much,
over.
Carolyn. Thank you so much.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, that was really beautiful. And now I am going to do the induction ceremony for our new members. And our new members are Martine Galvis, Marcus Martinez, and Michelle Tony, and Elizabeth Bachman. And what we need to do is take you off to a breakout room. Sally, I'm going to send you with them. And we need
Can
to,
I go
as
with
a-
them too, Cynthia?
Yes, if you want
Yeah.
to. Yes, that's right. You asked me if you could do that. And the rest of us need to vote on whether or not we're going to induct them. Okay? So hold on a second while I do this.
Probably take longer to put us in the breakout
Yeah,
room.
yeah. Wait. Well, because it's recreate.
Yes.
Here we go.
Take your time.
Are we in a separate room?
Not yet.
We're
You'll be
going
there
to
in a
be.
second. I'm just looking for, okay, here we go. All right, open rooms. And do you need to say okay that you're going in?
It should have a join.
It should, yes. Martine, you need to join to get into the breakout room. Okay, are we all? We're good. All right, so now.
I wasn't invited.
Oh, you're right. I didn't invite you. Hold on. That's because I think of you as already being here. Here you go. Did you get it?
There she goes.
All right. So now we need, as a club, to decide whether or not we're going to vote in each one of those members. So I'm going to start with Elizabeth Bachman. All in favor, say aye.
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 Great. And Marcus Martinez, all in favor, say aye.
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 Great. And Martine Galvez, all in favor, say aye.
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 Great. And finally, Michelle Tony, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. So we have agreed that they are going to be members, and I'm going to close the breakout room and bring them back in. And it'll take them a minute to get back. Sorry about that, unless they come back by themselves. Did I close it? Yes, it's closing. She's probably busy telling them things that they need to know. All right. Are we missing anybody?
Missing
Yes.
4 people.
We're still missing. Michelle, you're good. You came back up.
We're missing Sally, Cynthia, Marcus, and Martine.
Right. Well, they will come back
there they go.
automatically in a few seconds. So
Yeah.
just
Is it French? Elaby?
Just need Martine.
We're
Yeah,
back.
what happened to Martine? There he
There
is.
he is.
Okay, we're all
Yeah.
set.
Okay, and Sally back?
Sally is
Yes,
back.
All right.
I'm here.
I want to address all the new members. Marcus, Martine, Martin, Michelle, and Elizabeth. Membership in Toastmasters is a privilege, and the only way to gain the benefits of our program is to actively participate. Do you, Marcus, Martine, Michelle, and Elizabeth, do you promise to be an active member of this club, to attend meetings?
Promise.
You can hold on until I go through all of them. You don't have to say them one at a time. To be an active member of this club, to attend meetings
Okay.
regularly, to prepare all of your projects to the best of your ability, basing them on Toastmasters education program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, and to make sure to reach out to somebody else if you cannot do that, to provide fellow members with helpful constructive evaluation to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to treat my fellow club members, your fellow club members and guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to the club meetings so they can see the benefits of Toastmasters membership, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters education and recognition programs. New members, please reply, make sure you're unmuted, and say yes.
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 Elizabeth, did I hear you?
Elizabeth dropped off. She might be trying to get back on.
I don't see her. Oh my gosh. Just when
in
she
the
was going
waiting
to get inducted. No, I don't see her in the waiting room.
Okay.
Oh, maybe she got bumped off.
Okay, so now, club members, please, well, I would ask you to stand, but we're in a Zoom, so maybe I won't. Do you, members of Heart2Heart Toastmasters Club, promise to support Martine, Marcus, Michelle, and Elizabeth as they work the Toastmasters program? And please unmute yourself and say yes if you agree.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
Yeah.
It is my pleasure to officially welcome you, Martine, Marcus, Michelle, look at all those M's, and Elizabeth, as members of Heart2Heart Toastmasters. Please give them a round of applause. Yay! And with that, my mouse is stuck to my script. So let's see, what else do I have to do? I will invite the Toastmaster back to the stage.
Thank you, Michelle. What an action-packed meeting, everybody. At this point in the meeting, I'm going to invite our Vice President of Education, Annabelle Colstock, back up to make any education program announcements.
Hey, all roles are open, so please sign up for a role for next. And we only have 3 weeks now in between. We normally meet once a month, but this time we're kind of a week ahead. So we only have 3 weeks. So please, all you new people, we'd love to hear your icebreakers, whatever path you choose. Get with Michael Ann if you want more information on pathways. And we would love to have people step up too, also to be shadow officers. That'd be great. But mostly to fulfill roles.
And Annabelle, is there a place where people can sign up for these roles? Do you have a link to put in the chat that everybody can know where that document is, or do they just say to you what they want to do?
Just say to me by
email.
No, the listserv. Does everybody's on a member listserv, and you could just use that to let us know what role you want, and then we'll get back to you to confirm.
And
Okay.
maybe, Annabelle, you can send out an email after letting everybody know, and so it pops up in their screen and they can just reply all.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Excellent. So it's up to you to sign up for the roles that you'd like to do, especially if it's a speaking role. But however, I would like to encourage everybody to think about being an evaluator, because you learn to listen in a different way. You learn to listen to people speaking, and at the same time you're looking for what can I say, but you're doing it in a way that's positive and will help the speaker grow. So that's a different kind of listening, and it's a great practice. And anybody who really wants to hone their listening skills, try the grammarian. That's a completely different kind of listening, and you really have to stay attentive, no falling asleep. Not that any of us would do that, but it's a different kind of listening. Elizabeth, I understand from the comments that your computer crashed. You were inducted, and all we need to do is have you say yes.
To all the requirements. I'll send them to you later. It involves a certain amount of transfer of funds.
Oh, did we add any extra obligations to Elizabeth's list?
Well,
yes, yes, we did. A few extras, right? You're going to
yes,
shadow all the officers.
Oh, Lordy, I don't know about you, crowd. I don't know if I'm going to say yes without knowing. I might have to send brownies to everybody. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's on there too.
Ah, there you go.
How did she guess? How did she guess?
Double fudge.
Okay. And Elizabeth, everybody unanimously agreed that we're here to help you as well.
Yes.
Now I would like to turn the podium back over to Michelle as the president to make any announcements and complete our meeting. Michelle.
So the big announcement is that we have a TLI, which is the Toastmasters Leadership Institute doing training of officers. And I want 100% all the officers to be trained. And in addition, I'm inviting all of you who are not officers to come to the TLI because we have some extra breakout sessions and there are opportunities to volunteer. In fact, I think that's the way in which you can get in. And we're still looking for more room monitors. So please, and I have some links for you. Is somebody putting the links in? I'm going to put the links in for registering. Oops.
And you go to the d57tm.org and then click on their calendar or on the link that says
Eventbrite.
The Eventbrite, the TLI Eventbrite, yeah. And if you're worried that you signed up and you didn't get a link to the TLI, there's going to be several Zoom links, so just hold tight. They'll be sent in the next few days just before the TLI, because we're not sure if we're going to have more than 500 people on that Zoom, and in that case, they need to upgrade it to 1,000 people. So we're just waiting. Okay. Oh, and I got a question about Speechcraft. Speechcraft is also virtual, absolutely, and it's the beginning of it is tomorrow night, and at 5:45 to 8 p.m. Pacific, and
Monday night. Monday night.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not. Yes, Monday night. It's not Sunday yet. It's Monday night. Thank you for the correction. Monday night, and then I can. I'll send out to the listserv the links that you can register. We have over 60 people registered. We're hoping for more than 100, possibly close to 300 by the end of the month.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you, Cynthia. Any other announcements? I do want to, yes, go ahead, Michael Ann.
Well, I just want to acknowledge what I have done in the past, so I'll do it again today. We had 16 people participating today. One very distinguished special guest in Carolyn Douglas, and 15 members. Of the members, 5 of us are officers, 2 of us are shadows. We had 3 new members and 2 ongoing members and 3 mentors. So there's a lot of leadership happening in this group as represented here today.
Yes.
Thank you, Michael Ann. And I would like to now take the time to check in with our brand new members and get some feedback about how you experienced this meeting. What was it like for you? And we'll start with you, Michelle. You have to unmute, yes.
As my first attendance of going to this meeting has actually been an eye-opener. I see what's expected, and I see the camaraderie with the team. I see that you guys are very supportive, you collaborate, and I know that's something that I am looking for to move forward where I need to go and step up my game. In addition to that, it's something that I would love to be involved long-term, but I know I have a long way to go, so I do need to sign up for that pathway. So I need to talk to, I think I said something to Annabelle, I don't know. Oh, is
Michael
it?
Ann.
Oh, Michael Ann, okay. So yeah, so you'll be looking, I think you guys sent me something when I complete the membership. But yeah, I want to go ahead and get that started. But overall, again, I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, looking forward to learn and do more stuff. So thank you very much for inducting me, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, Michelle, really great to have you here with us. Thank you.
Oh, and I want some more chocolates.
Oh, yes,
I want
here
some
we
more
go.
chocolates.
Here we go.
That's what basically sold me. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, all right. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So Martine, how about you? You've been in other Toastmasters meetings, so please give us your feedback.
There is, wait. Is tomorrow we have my new computer.
Good.
Okay, about feedback, because we were three in table topics. Maybe we can do like other Toastmasters clubs where there is just 1 minute. I don't know what you think about 1 minute for a table topic. And then we can do 6 instead of just 3. What do you think about just giving a speech in 1 minute? And I didn't, because I speak a lot, so I didn't thought that I could do that, and I can do it in 1 minute. So maybe we can try that, and we are going to be more people participating in table topics. But in general, I enjoy your meeting, but I think that I would like to increase the number of people participating in table topics, or maybe reducing the time for the break time, for example, from 10 minutes to 4 minutes of break and 6 minutes more for table topics. I don't know.
Well, thank you, Martine. I really appreciated your sharing, and we will take it to our executive committee meeting and see what they think about that idea. I really love that you're just jumping right in there and expressing your opinion and your ideas. Thank you so much. And now I want to turn to Elizabeth. Although you've been to some of the meetings, I would like to get your feedback.
Oops. Tried to unmute myself and turned off my camera at the same time. I enjoyed it. I had fun with this, and part of what I'm trying to do this time around, just working on a second pathway, is to really challenge myself. And so I love to have the really experienced Toastmasters who can give me excellent feedback, and to get feedback on my material for my peers, and not just sort of do this haphazard, but challenge myself to really make this a serious project. I'm excited about it.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And we look forward to helping you to hone your skills, even though they are quite abundant. And now, Marcus, please share your feedback about the meeting tonight.
Thank you, Rochelle. I thought the meeting was fantastic. It's very inspirational. I'm already ready to volunteer for a couple of different things. I'm looking forward to that. I recognize the great expertise and the experience that all of you here bring, and I'm really looking forward to connecting with all of you in different ways and learning from all of you and improving my ability to speak. So, and I feel like between the club meetings and the Speechcraft program, it's just an incredible combination that I can foresee being really, really good for personal development and also building a community of really wonderful public speakers. So thank you. I certainly don't have anything to add in terms of what could have been done better, because this is probably the best meeting I've been to. Not that I've been to that many, but this was really good.
Thank you. Thank you. We'd love to hear that.
Very exciting with all the new officers and being included myself. So I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. We
love your home too. We love your home.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. My virtual background. Appreciate it.
All right. So is there any other announcements or any other information that need to be conveyed? If not, we are going to end. I'm going to adjourn the meeting just 43 seconds past our time. Thank you so much. Yes?
One thing, can all those who spoke, the new people, get a chocolate, a virtual chocolate?
Oh, yes.
I know Michelle really wanted that.
Okay. So Michelle, let me see where she is. Where are you? There you are. Okay. So here comes the chocolate for you. Ready to catch it? You get it? Yes. Okay. And Martine, I'm going to throw you to next. Here's a nice dark chocolate. Here you go.
All right.
Woo! And then we have Marcus. You ready for your chocolate? Here you go. Great. And finally, Elizabeth, you ready for your chocolate? Here we go. Awesome. All right.
No calories and your favorite flavor.
Yeah, and your favorite
And no
flavor.
calorie. That's the
And you
lowest
know-
calorie you can.
Carolyn, are you still there? I want to throw you a chocolate for showing up tonight.
Yes.
Are you there? Here you go. Ready for the chocolate? Here we go.
Got it.
All right.
And thank you for the brownie that was attached with it.
Oh, yes, the brownie. Yes. We got that from Elizabeth. It's her first installment. Okay. Thank you all. And no more. Meeting adjourned. Awesome to meet our new members.
Yeah.
New officers. Go have a great weekend and bye for now. The meeting adjourned.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.